like a little thing about perks here. So when you first start playing the game, you'll notice like at this one screen, pretty much when you like spawn in, off to the left, there's like stats, milestones, and perks, and man, it's been a long time since I've like really earned any perk points. But all you really have to do is like just play the game, and you get these perk points, and it'll show up here in the milestones. So like I can claim perk points because I completed 4 elite threat warnings. Um, this used to be filled with like a million different things, but I've done them. So like the only thing that's really left for me are these. So like I haven't really done a lot of deep dives or has 5 missions, so I still have a lot of these to earn. But basically, every time you like fulfill one of these things, you get perk points, and perk points are just kind of like passive buffs. I guess you could think of them like talents from WoW or kind of like Call of Duty's perk points, but most of them are passive abilities, and some of them are active abilities, and there's kind of like a consensus as to what is considered the best in the community, and I don't know, I kind of agree with some of the things and kind of disagree with others, but this is where you go to unlock them, and they kind of have tiers as well, so like this is like tier 1, second wind, tier 2, second wind, so I'm a little sick. Tier 3, basically you just get higher numbers. You'll get a 12% sprint speed boost, and that's after you've just been running straight for like 4.5 seconds. But there's a variety of these that you can choose from, and you just kind of fill it out as you go. You'll get to a point though where you can literally get them all, which is what I have here. I've literally gotten them all. So how do you actually like activate them or use them once you start unlocking them all? Over here, this terminal, and you can pick them out right here. So the first 3 are passive, and then the last 2 are active. This is what I use, and this is what I think is the best, and it's a little different between the classes, but it's generally the same. I recommend deep pockets no matter what you're doing. It just allows you to hold more minerals, and I know like 15 doesn't really sound like a lot, but carrying 60 versus carrying 40 is a big deal. I think your armor might also give you like a bonus to carry. I'll click on that real quick. Yep. So whatever you can do to carry the most minerals, I think it's just going to make your life easier. So just always do that. So from your armor and from the perk, absolutely get that. The next one is Born Ready. This actually it reloads for you while the weapon is not active. So if you're like on your secondary weapon and you depleted all the ammo in your first, as long as you have that second weapon active and you're not using your primary, like if I shot like all the shotgun shells and then I switched over to this breach cutter, in 5 seconds it'll automatically reload the shotgun. So it's pretty great. I don't necessarily think it's the best for everyone, but it's a pretty standard passive pick that people go with. I think it's good. There's some guns that actually like it wouldn't be good for. So like if I switch to Scout, this gun doesn't actually reload, right? It's got like a build up, or like it overheats, so there's no reloading. So it's really kind of pointless. And especially if you had 2 guns like that, you really wouldn't need some sort of passive reloading perk. So like on him, I switched out for this. Basically, when you get like a melee kill, you get some health back, and 5 doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up. You can do like this like power hit with the pick, so you do like right and left click at the same time, and you can potentially hit more than one guy. So like I don't know if you can get 3 at once, but you can definitely get 2. So you could be getting like 10 HP back every 10ish or 20ish seconds, just with a power hit. But you can still do like a regular hit, right? Like if you were just to finish off something, you get that 5 health. And what's really cool is that this actually works with the driller's impact axe. So instead of him getting grenades, he gets these axes, and every time you get a kill with an axe, you would get 5 health back. So your pick plus the axe, you get a lot of health back here. And the last one that I like is Thorns. It's exactly what you think it is. Anytime that something hits you, It takes damage. It's really good for those little guys. I can't remember the name of them. The swarmers, I think is what they're called. I think on the lower difficulties, they basically hit you once and they're like auto dead. I don't know if that has 5, it'll kill them in one hit, but yeah, sometimes you just get overwhelmed, or sometimes the monsters are just like so weak that you don't actually want to shoot them, and you can take the hit. So this is just nice. I think a lot of people like thorns. So actives, and this is probably where I really do it a little bit differently. Um, Not that this comes in handy in every match. Like some people might think that this is a little more, I don't know what the word is, but it's only good on certain maps. But I kind of just feel like in general it's pretty decent. Um, Not only does it get you out of like a grabber twice, it'll tell you when you're about to get grabbed, so you can actually avoid getting grabbed without having to use the skill at all. It's also good for like those sand sharks that come on the ground. You'll see them. They're usually like in the sand missions, and it's nice to know like when they're coming. But yeah, you can get out of things twice. There's been a couple times where I purposely let something try to grab me, and just by pressing spacebar when you're grabbed, it kills it. So it's pretty great. So yeah, twice per mission. And this other one that I like to use is hover boots. If you're about to fall and it's gonna kill you, you can actually hit C, and you will hover right before you would have died. Um, so it's kind of like an OS button. And some people kind of think, oh, well, it's for noobs, but nah, there's been a number of times where like someone else has fallen down like really far, and I go in after them, and right before I hit the ground to res them, I hit this, so I can just real quick get to somebody without fearing death. Also, you can use it like in combat too. You could jump off of like a little cliff on top of monsters and hit this, and you actually get like flame underneath your boots. So you can actually do some damage with it, which is cool. And while you're floating mid-air, it's like 3.5 seconds you're floating up there, you can shoot stuff. I really like it on the scout particularly. You're going to be, grappling around, and you're going to make some mistakes, and this is nice to have. And 75-second cooldown, that's really not too bad. That's pretty short. Sometimes when an engineer is not around to give me platforms, and I need to get like something that's like high up, you can grapple to it, and the cheeky thing to do is to grapple and then do like the power attack on the pickaxe, so you like bore out a hole as you're approaching it. And sometimes that works out great, sometimes it doesn't. So it's nice to actually have this, so you can grapple up to it, hover boots, and then pick away at the wall, and you usually make like enough of a divot that even if you don't fall into it right away, once the boots wear off and then you start falling down, and you can just like grapple back down for safety, but you can then grapple back up to where you had just picked, and then you can get there, and you don't need a platform or anything like that. So the boots can help you get minerals. The boots can help you live. The boots can help you get to someone really quickly that's fallen down somewhere. Boots can do these cool combat tricks. Sometimes you miss a grapple, or it's just bad, or you need to go really, really far, so you grapple once, then you hover boots, and while you're hovering in that 3.5 seconds, your grapple comes back, and then you can grapple again. So I think for Scout it's super useful, but I think for anyone it's pretty useful. The only one that I don't use hover boots on is actually the Engineer. Um, for non-Scout, so for Gunner and Driller, it's really there to save me, like if I'm about to fall, or if I want to get to someone quickly. But I kind of feel like I don't use it as much in that way on Engineer, strictly because the platform gun, like if you're about to fall, theoretically you can shoot a platform as you're falling right underneath of you, so you land on it. It's not going to save you 100% of the time, but more often than not it will. So I don't use the hover boots for him. And instead, what I use is Dash. it's exactly what you think it is. It dashes. And it can get you out of slow effects as well. So it's kind of like the rogue's sprint in WoW. And I think even the rogue's sprint can get you out of like snares and things. And this is exactly what it is. And it's only a 25-second cooldown, which is incredibly good. I can't tell you exactly what the run speed percentage is, but it's at least double, if not more. You run real quick. Um, it's not only good for getting away from monsters, but it's good for like jumping over large areas. It basically gives you like a super jump because you run so fast. So yeah, not only getting away but jumping over things, it's perfect. Um, I feel like when I'm doing those missions where you have to kill like the big boss guys, I can't remember what the heck they're called. um, but when you're fighting like big monsters, it's nice to get away from them with this. Sometimes they'll shoot like fireballs or whatever at you, and they're pretty hard to avoid. And with dash, it's super easy. I feel like the only thing that the engineer doesn't do is move real quick. So having this is not that they all really have a lot of quick moving abilities, but like this is it's pretty nice. So what are your other options? Like, what do other people go with? A lot of people think this is like a necessity. It basically reses people faster, and I think it also gives you the ability to res someone instantly, which can be pretty darn clutch. So like I definitely see the use of this, but the reason why that I don't use it, if you're playing like a lot of 3s and 4s, it's probably not going to be like this ultra critical moment all that often that you need to res someone 30% faster or that you even need to res them instantly. People either don't die that much or at all. And I'm not going to make the argument that no one should die, and that's why this is jank. But um, I would say definitely on easier difficulties, people aren't dying as much, so you're just not really getting as much use out of it. It has 5, and the modded difficulties, sure, I could see this being pretty necessary because it's kind of inevitable that you're going to die. But I don't think it's 100% critical. It's a good one to run, but I don't run it. And I can show you plenty of little screenshots where I've gotten the most reses in a game and I've never used this, so it's definitely possible. And when people help you res too, it makes it faster. So I think it's more nice than necessary. This is a big one that I think just about everybody runs. Uh, Never give up. Once per mission, get back into the fight. All your weapons reloaded. That's pretty good. So if you've basically died in a, you know, you've used up all your ammo, everything. You've done it all, and you get killed. You can come back and you're totally reloaded everything. Um, and I think once you pump enough points into it, you get 12 seconds um, of being back to life, and then you essentially die again. However, if within that 12 seconds you can get the red sugar, the thing that gives you health, um, or if you can get a resupply that gives you health, or if you can use it technically like in tandem with um, this skill. So if you end up doing like a melee kill during that 12 seconds and you gain the 5 life or more, um, you won't die. So in a way, this thing can you can come back from the dead and be permanently back. I don't know how many times you can use that in a map. I don't know if it's just like once or if you or what, but I feel like there's like a limit to how many times you can do this. I've been in maps where I thought it was over, like I thought we all wiped, and it turned out that someone had this perk. Um, so I can definitely see the benefit of using this. Maybe people would use it over heightened senses. It is rather good. Some other things, Beastmaster. This basically just allows you to tame a pet. Um, Not grunts, but it's there's like a step up from grunts. I can't remember the name of it, but there's like a stronger grunt, and that's typically what people capture. And I think it's nicknamed Steve or something every time you do it. Um, I know like the one of the cons to this is that I often end up shooting at other people's pets because I think that they're actual monsters, and it takes me a second to realize that they're not. But it's not really a big con though. the plus is that it's a little pet, it's a little tank. So as long as it's closer to an enemy than you are, the enemy will go to that instead of you. And it also does good damage. So yeah, it's pretty sweet to get. I've thought about using it a lot of times, but I never end up doing it. But I could see why people would want to use it. See you in hell. I have no idea what that is. I wouldn't use it. Shield link. Whenever you're within 4 meters of a teammate, both of your shields recharge 50% faster. That's cute. That's not a bad thing. And when you activate it, you overcharge a teammate's shield, so you basically get like a super shield for 30 seconds. Boss fights, I could see that being like really clutch. Has 5 where you're getting like overwhelmed. I could see this being really good. Um, I've kind of lived without it, so I don't think it's particularly great, but I, I I could see people using that. And Berserker, I don't know what this is. I've never used it, so maybe that could be good for you. But I definitely think Field Medic is good. Iron Will is maybe the best one. This is great. Having a pet. Dash is incredible. And I particularly like the hover boots. People say it's for noobs. Whatever. Living is always good, and I've gone over like all its uses. I just think hover boots are incredible. Dash and hover boots are so good. And again, heightened senses. I was playing with somebody once. We both didn't have it, and we both got grabbed, and that was the end of the mission. Um, yep. He even warned me as I came into the room that there was a grabber, and I was like, "Duh." It grabbed me, and yeah, we lost. So, um, I've just always had it since, and I really like that it tells you when you're about to get grabbed as well. So, it's just fabulous. It's really good. I feel like you just have to play with it. That's just me personally. But that is what I run. I don't know if I really went over all these passives. There's quite a few. Um, I don't know if I'm going to go over all of these. Some of them are better than others. I think I tried this once. Throw flares, 50% more force. Overkill. Second wind, I think I ran for like a little bit. Friendly. This might actually be a good one if you're playing on Driller. Driller has it's kind of notorious for team kills. Just the nature of their weapons is a little explosive. The C4, when they put it down, it gives you like that big red dome. What like anyone in here could potentially die, but when you're in the thick of things, you might not know that someone has thrown it down, and you don't realize that you're in it, and/or the people who throw it down just automatically pull the trigger before giving anyone any time to get out of it. So you're gonna get killed by drillers quite a bit, generally accidental. And having something like friendly, um, you know, would make you do less damage to teammates. So if you're playing driller, this might actually be a good choice. And if you're playing anything else, though, I'm not so sure. Elemental insulation. I feel like that's another one of those like time and a place kind of things. I know like those fire maps in particular. This would be good. I think the driller himself actually has like natural uh, resistance to fire. I don't know. So this for those who prefer. Yeah. So the driller takes less. So it might not be as beneficial on the driller to get something like elemental insulation. I know when I first saw this, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like I want that 30% damage reduction. Heck yeah. But it's only elemental, and you're not really getting hit by a lot of elemental things. So I would say it depends on the map. But I don't use it, and I've been fine. Resupplier. I think I did use this a long time ago. I don't know what the exact amount of time it takes to resupply. Let's just say it's like 5 Mississippis or something. So it would make this quicker, and you gain a little bit more health. I don't feel like the health is really necessary. I feel like generally when you're going for a resupply, you're at like half or better health anyhow, so you're covered. So the fact that it's faster is nice, and there are situations where that can definitely be good. And then I think when you do have this and you get a resupply, it also automatically reloads all your weapons, so that's good too. Um, I still think deep pockets is just everyone's got to get it. Um, Vampire, if you can get it, it's really nice. 5 doesn't sound like a lot. I know 5 sounds like nothing, but you got to think about like in the long term, like how much health this is going to end up getting you, and then there's those situations where you can get um, more than one kill at once, so you can get 10 health or more potentially, and especially for the driller, when you combine it with his impact axe, yeah, you can get a lot of health back. It's definitely nice. And the Born Ready, if you got weapons that reload, this is perfect. This is actually a situation where neither of these weapons reloads, right? It's you like essentially just like burn this down, and you essentially burn that down as well. So there's no reloading. So like a reloading talent would not be of any use. That's why you gotta figure out like who it's good for. Like I feel like on this guy, it's probably a good idea. Like he's got the big guns and they reload real slow. So I feel like that talent or that perk was really made for him. So I know there's ways you can like mod these guns to have like silly amounts of ammo, like 200 rounds or something like that. And instead of taking like the 7 seconds or however long it is to reload, you would just swap to your secondary gun, kill stuff, or run around do something else. And then when you switch back after 5 seconds, that gun will be reloaded. So it works out great if you have guns that reload. And Thorns is just like a generic. Someone could make the argument like, don't get hit, just don't get hit. You don't need Thorns. Okay, sure. But on paper, that sounds great. But when you're playing, this is going to be incredible. And sometimes too, you just don't want to like waste your ammo. Like there's like this little like flying jellyfish-looking things that will come at you, and depending on the difficulty you're playing, you might not need to kill them with ammo. You might want to conserve your ammo, so just letting them hit you, and they'll kill themselves. So it's it's useful. It's really useful. On big bosses and things like that, this is crap. But for literally pretty much everything else, yeah, it's amazing. So that is what I run on my guys. So it's pretty much the same. Little differences here and there. You might not need this, and you might think that dash and hover boots are the way to go. I really recommend hover boots, whether you're new or you're not. Like it's so good. Again, how do you earn all them points? I just rambled on and on. You get it from here. You get it from these milestones. Basically, just play the game. So, like, you will have a ton of these when you're new, and it's basically just like, do 3 of these missions, do 2 of these missions, collect this material, collect that, purchase these things. You just play the game, man. That's all you gotta do. You just play the game, and the points will unlock. You can pay attention to them if you want. Maybe it'll help you kind of diversify your play so you earn more points, but you will get to a point where you can unlock every single perk, and then I have 117 left over. So I've been playing like a little over 500 hours, so I have way more than I need. I'm done. So the point I'm trying to make here is just play, don't stress. Get ones that you think are gonna be beneficial to you, and yeah, that's really about it. Hopefully that helps.